This is the Altem Life Podcast.
Let's go check it out.
Hi again, everyone. We are back for episode 3, and we decided to do a Q&A episode.
We've done some videos with Q&A, but we thought let's do a podcast with a Q&A.
Yeah, with some different questions that people maybe have wanted to ask, or maybe we didn't answer last time or haven't answered. So we'll kind of just go through that list and see where it goes.
That's right.
As usual.
Yep. Let's jump in.
Wow. All right. The first question is, what do we do for a living? A lot of people wonder this. A lot of people ask us that. I'm a teacher.
And I used to be in the real estate field, but if you followed us along for any amount of time, I recently switched this year to a new position, and I am a project manager for schools.
Yep.
So it's actually I'm very grateful to be in the spot I'm in. I took a class in college. I have a business degree. We talked about that a little bit in the first episode.
Management marketing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's right. And I actually had a class that was project management and really enjoyed it. And after that class, anytime we planned a trip or whatever, I would use what I learned in project management, kind of put it all out in like a spreadsheet. You know that, of course.
Yes, I do.
And about minute by minute, we would have everything planned.
Yeah.
So I did fall in love with project management through school.
Right.
And then it just so happened that I was in the real estate field.
Which is its own kind of project management, honestly.
Definitely.
Even without the title.
Definitely. And then after that, I landed a job with schools. And basically what that means is whenever schools need a new school or need like a renovation or an addition, anything like that, we help get that going and follow it through to the very end. So it's been a kind of a learning job the past few months, but so far I really do enjoy it.
Yep. And then, like I said, teacher. I teach elementary school, so the little ones. And every day is an adventure, that's for sure.
The little guys and girls.
Yeah. And I did leave the teaching field for about 1.5 years. And in that 1.5 years, I actually worked with Alex in real estate and learned a lot through that, which was nice. And then decided to get back into teaching because I did miss it. I always loved teaching.
It's almost like a love-hate relationship sometimes.
Sure. Yeah, teaching is not an easy thing, but I'm glad of where I am and what I'm doing right now and the people I work with, so that always makes it a lot easier. And
what are some pros and what's a pro of teaching and a con of teaching?
A pro is obviously, like I said, the teaching part of it, being able to like make a difference and see a kid who struggled with reading at the beginning of the year, at the end, find books that they like reading and they're reading on their own. Little things like that. And then a con of teaching, there's a few.
I can name a few just from...
I'll pick one, and I think the one thing would be underappreciated. And it's hard to appreciate a job that someone does without ever having done it, just like real estate. I have never had any experience with being an agent, and I wasn't an agent, but working with agents and things, you do come to respect the amount of time and effort and things like that people put into their job. So I think that could go for any job, but teaching is it's a whole nother beast. That's for sure. So I'd say that the con is just underappreciation.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Definitely.
But the pros outweigh the cons. And in my case, for some people not. And that's okay. That's why there are so many jobs to be had.
Yeah. So that is what we do. And then another job is pretty much what we do with YouTube.
Yeah. It takes a lot of our time. And that kind of leads into another question that somebody asked. They said, how do we manage to take off time from work to go and do all of our YouTube type things? And we don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to jump in and just kind of talk about our schedule because a lot of people ask, and it's not an easy schedule by any means. It's definitely, it's tough. There are nights like last night, definitely didn't want to get a video done.
No.
Just so you know, too, I spend most of the time editing.
Yeah.
And more on Facebook. You spend more time on Instagram.
Yeah.
And like whenever we post TikToks and things like that, that's mostly on you.
Which is not very consistent because, again, being a teacher is it can be very time consuming if you allow it to be. So
yeah,
that's why Alex does the majority of he does all of the editing and then a lot of the other behind the scenes stuff too.
Yeah. And starting out when we first started YouTube, I remember saying we'll be lucky to do once a week, maybe 2 videos a week. Yeah. And then it turned into, okay, maybe we can do, 2 to 3 a week. And I think it was January of 2022 that we said, you know what, let's be more consistent with this. And that was kind of our New Year's resolution, was let's just be more consistent with it. I think the video that year, one of the first videos, was the state park in Inverness. What's that one called? I can't even remember the name of that.
Fort Cooper.
Fort Cooper. And that was the whole spider incident where that spider literally almost got us.
That was funny.
But that kind of kickstarted
funny looking back, not in the moment. That was
not funny if you're scared of spiders. But that kind of got us kickstarted into doing more. And I kept saying, like, there's no way I can do one every day. There's no way I can do one every day. And looking back into 2023, we almost did one every day, but we've done one since August 1st every day. For you could go without doing them. That's for sure. Like,
I could. And I've said this plenty of times before. YouTube is not my wheelhouse. It's not like my passion. But when you're married, your passions become your spouse's passion. So, and I do enjoy going and doing the things, but I would be fine with doing 3 videos a week.
Yeah. Seeing that right there,
I would be very inconsistent.
Right there, we're just kind of like, ugh. But kind of the way our schedule works is we work pretty much normal hours.
Monday through Friday.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like 7:30 to 4. And we come home after that. And believe it or not, we've been really good this year. We've had so many videos from Savannah, from Key West, that we've been able to kind of stock up on videos. And so that's allowed us to actually eat at home. I know a lot of people question, do you ever eat at home? And yes, we do. You actually enjoy cooking. We can actually go into that sometime too. You love cooking. You didn't used to, but now you do.
Well, just because I didn't know how to.
Gotcha. So now
I about burnt down our first kitchen that we had.
Yeah.
Truthfully, there were flames.
Yeah, that's a true story. But after that, usually in the, I don't know, like 7 o'clock-ish is when I will start on a video. Sometimes on the weekends, I'm able to get caught up and have several lined up, but lately it's just been so busy I haven't been able to. So evenings, start on a video. Usually takes me anywhere from an hour to longer ones, 2 hours, so 7 to 9. Then you got to let it export. Then you got to let it import, upload to YouTube. Then you got to label it all. Then you got to get your thumbnail and you got to do all this stuff. And so it is very tiring at times. Some nights we're better at having a solid schedule than others.
Sure.
But last night was pure survival. So we had to do what we had to do. And I remember like just thinking, just got to get this done. Got it done. Got it uploaded. Was like going to bed.
Yeah.
So.
And then, like I said, I hop in inconsistently with.
Yeah. Well, you do what you can.
I do what I can, what I have the capacity for. But you do. He posts all the videos on Facebook. He makes all those posts. And then the other posts, though, like with pictures and things like that, are usually me.
And stories.
And stories. Yep. Instagram, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we try and balance it out, but we're both understanding of.
Yeah.
Because there are nights where I'm like, do you really have to edit a video? Because I'd like to, because when he's editing a video, we can't like watch a movie together or anything like that. But it's fine. We make it work. Yeah. And we found a better balance now, I think.
Sometimes we do the movie first and then afterwards.
Yeah, and then you're editing until 1 o'clock in the morning.
But one of the main reasons we do one every day is well, thank you to everybody that does watch and listen, because if no one watched, well, there was a time when hardly anybody watched.
Of course.
And I know someone commented and said, I remember the days when there was like 40 views and that was it. And those days are terrible. If you ask any YouTuber, you work 2 hours getting it edited. That's not including the time filming. And then you get 40 views. And it just, you feel like trash kind of, because you're like, I did all this work and no one's watching it. I'm not going to do it anymore. The majority of YouTubers end up stopping usually when they don't get the views. And what I've noticed is, there's some people that have half the videos as we do, but have more subscribers, and they just got in at the right time. For us, we came in a little late. So I have found that more people find us the more consistent we are, being just do one every day. So for now, that's what we plan on doing. I plan on doing one every day.
Yep. So we're along for the ride.
So that's our jobs. We do our normal jobs and then the YouTube.
Yep. And all of our videos and content are filmed on breaks, like Thanksgiving break, that kind of thing, or on the weekends or in the evenings.
Or sometimes if we're behind, it's film that night and
quickly get it edited.
And get it edited that night and put out the next day. So just kind of depends.
Yeah. So that kind of sums that up. Someone commented and said something along the lines of, I just took quick notes, I'm a list person. Alex,
sometimes.
Not so much.
I'm more of a, if it's in my head, just do it, get it done kind of thing. But when it comes to, like, I don't know, grocery shopping or our videos, because we have so many videos, a list, Christmas list for people, those things I can't just store in my brain. So those are for sure lists.
But I'm pretty much a list for just about anything.
Anything, yeah. It could be, we need to get cat food. Well, let me start a list. And I'll be like, but it's just cat food. Well, no, let me start a list. And you write.
Or we need to get mulch for the yard. Okay, well, let me write a list of other things we need to do for the house.
That kind of creates a monster, because it's not just mulch. Then all of a sudden you say, all right, we're going to add a big addition on to our house and have a greenhouse. And then let's do this and put a bowling alley in the backyard and all this stuff, which I would love to have a bowling alley in the backyard.
Bowling?
Regular bowling.
Okay.
Lawn bowling's okay.
You may want to have that inside, though.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. See, and then another list forms.
I'll make a list for anything.
You're a list person.
But someone said, how does Timber speak Spanish so well, or something along those lines.
Notice they didn't say Alex. I'm not good.
It's okay. You try. And I try and teach you more. I don't really know. I mean, I took Spanish in middle school, and then I took it I think ours went up to Spanish 7 at the time in high school. And so I took every single Spanish course that was available. I was actually the vice president of the Spanish club at my high school. Proudly, wear that badge. And then in college, I took some college courses or some Spanish courses as well. But I have always been in love with the language, and we went to Enrique Iglesias and Ricky Martin's concert, and that was like a highlight for me because love it. I don't know. I just love the language.
Yeah. Luckily, I knew the songs, but
mostly the beat of the song and the chorus.
The English versions of the song.
So yeah, I don't know, just a lot of learning and just enjoyment of it, I guess.
Yeah.
But no background. I don't have any family that speaks Spanish or anything like that.
Yeah. Going back to that concert, it was nice to see both of those, because you grow up and listen to Enrique a lot. But I mean, he really didn't change a whole lot. It was like he was still singing back in 1999.
He was still living in his heyday, and I don't blame him for that.
I will say Ricky Martin.
Oh, he put on a performance, like a class act Vegas show performance. Yeah,
it was amazing. Very good. But it was something that, it was one of those things where it's like, if you don't do it, then you'll never do it.
Right.
So we did it.
Yep, we sure did. We have another concert coming up too, that probably has some Spanish songs in it.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to film it. We always try to film a little bit of
at least the venue and stuff.
It's just very hard to film a concert because you can't.
Is this one at a new venue that we're going to?
No, it's the same one. It's still Orlando.
The Kia
They
Center
call
now.
it Kia Center instead of Amway like it used to be, but we'll still do a seat tour, show the concert, things like that.
Some clips.
Yeah.
Okay, stay tuned. The next one on my list is budget. That's all you.
That's fine. Yeah.
I'll just put in a little disclaimer here. I do nothing with our budget. I very well could. He would allow. It's not a,
It's not a control thing.
No, it's a. I'm not good at it.
Maybe tell him the story of like, when was it, high school days when you'd go to McDonald's and.
Oh, well, yeah, I would go to McDonald's and just spend stupid money, or not even McDonald's, but just go and buy just silly little things that I did not need at all. I still would do the same thing now. I still do the same thing now. Sometimes I'm just in a better spot financially than I was in high school. Thank goodness. But yeah, there was one time that I paid a bill because I used to write checks for my bills, and I wrote a check and I worked hard. I mean, I at one point had 4 jobs when I was in high school.
Yeah, you had me beat. I had 3.
High school and college. I grew up in a house where my family could have afforded to, take care of things for me. But the principle of the matter was, that's not how this is going to go. You're going to learn how to be a responsible adult. And so I was responsible for basically all of my financial needs, other than, clothing, food, basic clothing, food, shelter. So I paid my bill one time with a check, and I got a message from a lady at the bank, and she's so nice. She knew me since I was like 13, and she was like, "Hey, so you definitely didn't have the amount in your account to cover that check, so we covered it for you, but you'll need to deposit money and stuff because it definitely would have bounced." So thankful for her, being so kind. But again, just one example of me not being the most responsible with my money. I always paid my bills, though. Yeah. I still paid that bill.
I was going to say, you still paid everything. It's just you didn't have anything saved for retirement.
Yeah, I would go to like 74 cents in my bank account and be like, whew, making it to the next payday.
Mm-hmm. Whew. Now, we aren't a financial service by any means.
No.
We spend more money than we probably should on things.
Sure.
Especially when you go out and eat. A lot of people say, how do you afford this? How do you do that? How do you go and do stuff all the time? And it simply comes down to budgeting. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're very grateful that we do have family that lives here, which I can go ahead and answer one question that's on there. I don't know if you have it down or not. But
if parents have moved.
My parents have moved, and no, they do not live in the villages.
Yeah.
They do visit the villages. We visit the villages with them. They are not in the villages. Mm-mm. But we are fortunate to where whenever either side of the family takes us out, they usually pay for it. And I'm very grateful for that. There are times to where we will. It just depends on the situation. But for the most part, they are the ones that they're like, yeah, we're going to pay for you guys. We're going to help you out. We're going to almost like sponsoring.
Yeah, we have very generous parents. That's for sure.
So grateful for them and all that they do for us, but that's how some of the meals we afford. Mm-hmm. Some of the meals we split, like the check. We share a lot, and we kind of get ragged on for that, but sorry, we just do it because we eat sometimes.
We don't eat leftovers.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a leftovers person.
And it's not an ungrateful thing. It's just I physically can't wolf down something that I've already had. It's like I can't get it down.
I guess you can consider mine ungrateful. I guess I don't. I just don't care for
I've tried
certain things, but for the most part, no.
Yeah.
Just come to the reality of it'll sit in our fridge for a week and then start stinking. So I'm like, well, just bypass that step and don't take home leftovers.
That would be a good one. Comment below if you're on YouTube on if you're a leftovers person or if you're not. That'd be fun to see. But
and I really don't. Just keep your opinions to yourself on if it's the right thing to do or not.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It's not changing.
Yeah. But so as far as budgeting goes, we do plan out a lot. And the reason why we do share some meals is there are times where we actually film 3 restaurant reviews in a day. And if we're not sharing, there's no way we could fit 3 in. There's also times to where we, like you said, on the weekends, we'll say Saturday, we'll say, here's 5 videos we're going to film. And so part of that is we know we're going to spend money on food, but then maybe we do a state park. State parks are cheap.
Yeah.
So $6.
Right.
So we'll go do $6. And then maybe instead of doing a breakfast, we'll just eat something at home. Maybe we'll
And then
share.
throughout that week, though, so if we get like 5 videos done on Saturday or whatever, throughout the week we really don't spend much money. We won't go and do anything. We'll just come home from work. You'll edit your video. I'll make dinner.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just how it goes.
And I have a spreadsheet. Imagine that. I have a spreadsheet. And it's actually with Google Sheets. And the reason why I do that is because you can have it on any device. So I actually have it on my phone or on the computer. And what you can do is you can kind of see what you had budgeted. So each week I have things budgeted. Of course, bills are going to be bills. So you have the bills there. And then after that, you can kind of have a category called food, and we budget how much we think we're going to spend on food. If you spend more than that, then maybe don't spend as much shopping, or maybe we do something a little less. If we spend less than that, okay, then maybe we go and spend more money on food. Right. And that's really it. I mean, it's as simple as budget. And for some, I mean, it's for some of our time, it's been difficult for us. We'll be like, man, especially when you start working, it's tough. It's very tough.
Well, and even whenever we first got married, I was student teaching.
Yeah.
And so I was you don't make any money as a student teacher, but you're required to be there full time like a teacher. And so I was still working like after school and stuff. But there was no full-time paycheck, salaried paycheck or anything like that for me. And then for you, it was just out of college job. So it wasn't, I mean, it was a good amount of money, but not to where it's worth 2 incomes.
Yeah.
So starting off on that foot was kind of
just like getting thrown in the deep end and saying swim.
Sure.
But
we made it through. Look at us. We didn't drown.
Definitely. And I will say there is a fine line between budgeting and saving so much money, but then limiting yourself on doing stuff. Because we could pull, I mean, you can call it like the Dave Ramsey method or whatever you want to do, but where you say, okay, we're just not going to do much for an entire year and get stuff paid off. But we both agree that that's not really, I'm not saying that's a wrong thing to do, but to us, that wastes almost a year of experiences. I mean, good health we have of getting out and doing stuff. I always bring up, I wanted to watch Jimmy Buffett in concert, and I kept pushing it off. Well, unfortunately, I'll never get to. And I think if you do stress so much on saving money, you will miss out on a lot of opportunities in life. And so we try to balance it. Yeah,
I think that's kind of I don't want to generalize, but I think that's kind of a millennial outlook on things though too, because we realize we don't want to wait for retirement to start enjoying everything. So the most that we can do now when we're able to and that kind of thing, that's what we'll do.
Yeah. I think the best schedule we can have is where we line up a Friday, Saturday, and we've been trying to take Sundays slow. So like church, we go to church every week, every Sunday we're at church. And after that, we've just tried to stay at home kind of for our own sanity and rest, because you can get kind of tired. So really kind of starting Friday night and Saturday, our schedule is, let's see how many videos we can get that'll fill it up. Now, we also do the podcast. We're trying to do one of those each week. And so that helps. But if you think there's 7 days in a week, if you can do maybe 2 on Friday, 4 on Saturday, and then do a podcast during the week, there's your 7.
Yep.
And that allows us during the work week to
stay at home majority of the time. Now,
there was a time to where it was every day after work we were going somewhere because we weren't caught up, and we were just trying to, we call it pure survival. And that is come home after work, go do something, film it, come home, edit it. I would not recommend
especially
that.
When we were commuting. That was bad. Yeah. Sorry, I had a hiccup.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. We just have kind of found what works best for us budget wise. Well, Alex has found what works best for us budget wise. Like I said, I could have input, but I don't want to. I'm good. I can get, if I want to go buy whatever, I can go buy whatever.
Yeah.
We're not super strict.
No.
But we are realistic. I think, is the biggest thing.
We're not super strict, but we're not super like needy people. So
yeah, materialistic. Yeah.
I mean, I still drive my very first car I've ever owned.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, you've been through some cars in life. Let's just put it that way. So
it was not by choice. So
you physically cannot drive your first car. But we went and we drive, I think we talked about it before, a Ford Explorer.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that because of all of our pets.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really handy when we go on road trips and stuff. So
yeah. And it was affordable.
yeah.
So I don't know. We just kind of live within your means, I think, is the best thing. But also don't prohibit yourself from living.
YouTube's so hard because if you don't spend the money, you're not going to get as many views. If you spend the
content,
money,
yeah.
people love watching. Like, I wish we could say we flew first class from here to here, but unfortunately,
not in the cards.
Not in the cards.
So we'll keep showing you economy flights.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's okay though.
Mm-hmm.
We're content. On to the next question was, how do we handle our pets whenever we are going and doing things? And I think maybe now that we've explained our schedule a little bit more, it makes a little bit more sense. So we'll be gone on the weekends, but we don't typically stay overnight anywhere.
Mm-mm.
So we'll leave in the morning, and our animals are always all fed in the morning anyways during the work week, and then they get fed at night. Mm-hmm. Our cats are they're all indoor cats, so they're easy.
They're very easy, yeah.
The dogs, when we moved into this house, we didn't have a designated spot for them. And in the old house, you had talked about how we built that.
We showed it, yeah.
Nice. Well, and even in the last podcast, you talked about how we built that nice dog house for them that was air conditioned, and they had like a dog run. And we knew we wanted something similar here. But the house that we live in now, it's a really old house, and old houses don't have a lot of storage and things like that. And so we had to buy a shed.
Didn't have to buy. We bought one though. Didn't have to buy them for the pets. We had to buy them because
for all of our stuff.
Yeah, for our items. There you go. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I was getting there.
Okay.
We did have to buy a shed.
Fair enough.
And having bought that shed, we realized, well, instead of having a shed and our laundry is also out in a separate shed, and then building a separate dog house and having like 12 outbuildings on our not very big piece of property, we thought, well, let's see if we can just buy a little bit bigger of a shed and then section off a part of that for the dogs. Mm-hmm. And the shed that we got is like hurricane graded.
Category 3 hurricane.
Category 3 hurricane graded. It's really nice, and it looks nice.
And for those of you that are in the Central Florida area, it's a Lark shed.
L-A-R-K.
Yeah, we got it at the Leesburg location there. And they are great. I would definitely, in fact, we want to get kind of like one for the garden one of these days.
So like I just said, we don't want a bunch of outbuildings.
Yeah, we want one more.
We have run out of storage. But anyways, we designated a spot for the dogs in the shed, and you and your dad built walls and like a dog door, or like a human door actually,
so that we could
so they couldn't get into the storage part. And then when we got it built by Lark, you can get them kind of customized, and we said, well, we would like to have a dog door. And they said okay, and they did it. And we have a ramp that goes out to, they have like a big outdoor space that's just theirs, and like
and a window.
Turf, and they have a window and air conditioning, and there's a dog camera in there, so we
two dog cameras,
2 dog
beds.
Yes.
Their food, their water.
Yeah.
The air conditioner is smart, so we can control it from our phones.
Right.
And their old house was 4x8. This one's 6x10. So if that's,
they're comfortable.
If that's not living a good life, I don't know.
So then they can come in, obviously, if it's raining or if they just want to be inside. But then they can also go outside whenever they need to. Yeah. So it works out really well. We knew that we
and we have cameras on the outside too to watch them.
Right. Obviously, we bought dogs in their responsibility, and we wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. So we did invest quite a bit into that. But
And
It also helps us out, though, because if we're going to be gone, majority of the day, we're not sitting there thinking, oh gosh, they're still in their kennel or whatever. They're fine.
yeah. And our neighbors love dogs. They have dogs
Yes.
and love our dogs. So anytime we are going to be gone a little longer, they know how to get into our house.
Yeah.
And they will go check on the dogs. And then if we go on a long trip like Savannah or Key West,
Right.
we actually have a really good pet sitter, I should say.
Yeah. Between our neighbors and the pet sitter, the dogs are always taken care of.
Yeah,
And the
and
cats too, but like I said, they're easier.
They're easy.
So
Yeah, definitely. So
that's how we handle it.
yeah. And last checkup with the dogs, they said they are very, very healthy.
Yeah.
So we're doing it right.
They are getting older. So
Yeah. But they
how
checked
old are they?
7 or 8. 7. 8. They'll be 8 this year, I think.
8 this year.
So yeah. But they're in great health.
Yeah. Oh gosh, they still act like puppies, so that's good.
Yeah.
And they love being outside. We've brought them in a couple of times, and they just are ready.
They're kind
to
of
go
like,
right
there's
back
not
out.
enough room in here. Let's
Yeah, yeah, they enjoy it. So we found that works.
Definitely.
And then last question that we had was, when are we going to Jeff's Bagel Run? And when are we going to Jeff's Bagel Run?
It's on our list, as is a bunch of other items.
That is a list that you have.
That is. And just so you know, when we first started taking suggestions, it filled up so fast. So our list probably, I've lost count. It's got to be well over 100 places. Some of them are repeats, but even that Ms. Kathy's that we just did, which, by the way, thank you for all the support and views on that video. That was fantastic. As one of our most watched videos, like within a certain time period. And I think one of the reasons is, one, you're kind of next to the villages, so you're in that area. But two, it was one of the most suggested places we have had.
Yeah.
But I bring that story up because I want to say it was suggested to us back in like 2022. So it did take us a while to
And
get
that's
there.
the thing too. Some people suggest things, and it's in an area that we don't frequent a lot. I mean, we're not there. So when we're there, we will go.
Right.
So if you've suggested something and we haven't gone,
Keep
be
suggesting
patient.
it.
Yeah, you can
and
keep suggesting, but
we'll
we
get it.
we do have a list.
Yeah. Also, I would encourage people to go to Food in Florida playlist on YouTube, because there are times where people say, you need to go eat here, and we have done a video on it.
Right. They might be a new follower or something like that.
There's actually a spot on YouTube that's like next to our profile name, somewhere in there. Then it's a little search, like magnifying glass. If you click on that, you can actually type in any of the video,
Places,
like whatever place you think of, and it'll pull it up. And if you're on YouTube, you can just do just put the Altem Life after it. And if it's one of our videos, then like you could do Ms. Kathy's The Altem Life. And since Google owns YouTube, it's just like a search engine. So it'll show if we've done one.
Yep.
So
There was one question that wasn't on my list, and it might be a funny way to kind of end it. But someone did ask us this whenever we were talking about doing a podcast, and it was, what is the most trouble that we got in, I think, as a child,
as a
is
child,
what they said.
yeah, they said that'd be a fun one.
And I don't know, we really actually were, not to toot our own horn here, but we were both really good kids.
Yeah.
So we didn't get into much trouble.
I learned, so I'm the youngest. I have an older brother. You are the oldest.
Of a whole gamut of
Yeah.
half siblings and step siblings.
Yeah.
But they're all my siblings.
I was fortunate to learn from my older brother what not to do. If he was on here of name a time you got in trouble, I don't know what he would pick.
You wouldn't have he wouldn't have enough time.
Yes. And he loves talking about it. Like he'd be like, yeah, I did this. Me
He
on the
grew
other
up
hand,
to be a productive member of society, very
That's
much
right.
so it's
Yes.
okay.
And I just remember he would get in trouble, and I'd think, yeah, I'm not going to do that. That doesn't look very fun. So
No.
I'm going to try to be the little angel over here. And that was a time I could really
That is your personality,
It
though,
is.
too. You're a people pleaser.
That's a time I could really jump on being a sweet little angel kid of, oh, he got in trouble. Well, look at me. You need my room. Look, my room's all spotless kind of thing. But for me, the time I got the most in trouble, it kind of was my fault. I mean, it was my fault, but it was,
Just tell the story and let people decide on their own if it's
Basically, we lived on a bunch of land, and so we were known to, go on the four-wheeler. If it snowed, get pulled on the sled with a four-wheeler to shoot BB guns, pellet guns. And there was one such instance to where I had my BB gun out. It's not like a Christmas Story. You'll shoot your
eye out, kid.
But I was shooting the BB gun, and I happened to aim at the ground, but the way I was aiming faced the house. And when I shot it at the ground, it ricocheted off the ground, and it shot out the window. The window did not just like bust. In fact, I was like, if you put a curtain over it, you can't really see it. But there was a slight...
You're blaming it on your brother. Like
yeah,
it's a more likely story.
There was a slight BB hole through the window. And now that we actually own a home, we realize that windows are not cheap.
No.
But as a kid, you don't really know that. And my brother got in a little bit of trouble too, just because why are you letting your younger brother go out and shoot towards the house? And then I got in trouble for...
What was your punishment?
It was supposed to be to start picking up some rocks in the yard so that when they mowed, they wouldn't hit the rocks. And I think my brother was very clever at times. So, and then I just piggybacked it. Mm-hmm. It was, oh yeah, we picked up some. Yeah, we'll get to it. And we just kept getting to it eventually. And that was that. So other than getting in trouble that day, I mean, we did get in trouble that day.
Yeah.
That's the most I've ever gotten in trouble. I don't know if I got spanked that day. I don't even know if I ever got spanked one time in my life, just because I saw my brother get spanked and I was like, I don't want this. But if I got spanked, that would have been the day I got spanked. I don't quite remember, but I think that was the day I did.
Yeah.
Which I ended up saying, like, I didn't mean to. It's not like I physically more in tears of I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to do that. But I would say that was probably
consequences to our actions, though.
Yeah, I would say that was probably the time I got in the most trouble. Other than that, though, I mean, I don't. Again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I like to say I was a pretty good kid.
Yeah, I think overall I was a good kid too. Being the oldest, I was always held to that standard of you've got younger brothers and sisters. And I think whenever I was little, there was one instance I remember getting in trouble by my dad. And we had bunk beds, and my sister at the time, she was probably, 4, and I was maybe 8, 9, I don't know. And I had the top bunk and she had the bottom bunk of the bunk beds, and she was up on my bunk bed for some reason, getting into some, I don't know, just doing like little sister stuff. And I just decided I'd had enough of it, and so I shoved her off the top bunk. That was pretty brutal. And
that's pretty brutal.
I was wearing overalls at the time, and I remember my dad came in and he picked me up by the back of my overalls and pulled me up to his eye level. And that was really the one time that I remember getting in trouble by my dad. So, yeah.
We learned.
We learned. And like I said, overall, very good kids. I think our parents all of our parents would say that about us.
Yeah.
That's the one that comes to mind, though, right now.
Yeah. So hopefully that covered some of the questions we got in. Mm-hmm. I know we did do a previous video of a full Q&A. So
side note, my sister is fine. Just in case anybody really was worried, she was fine and she's good now.
Yeah. But we did do a video of a Q&A back in the day. I can put that at the end of this video if you're on YouTube watching. Click on that and watch. And hopefully you enjoyed our third podcast. We're going to try to just be pretty consistent with it.
Yep. Thanks for listening and watching.
Yeah, and as always, you can watch it on YouTube, listen on Spotify, listen on Apple Podcasts, listen on Amazon Music.
That's all of them.
I think that's it. So anyway, with that being said, that does it for today. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.